The state funeral honoring President Jimmy Carter begins this morning in Plains, Georgia, and it's been a busy last few hours as last-minute preparations are falling into place.
So now we're just about 45 minutes away from events formally getting started. Zach Merchant is downtown in Plains. So much work, Zach, so much emotion leading up to this moment. Tell us what you're feeling kind of in the air there around you in Plains right now.
You're right, it was a lot of work to get to this moment, but the emotion is what sticks with you when you're here, and we've been here all week. You've been able to feel it all week, and you can feel it this morning. As you said, we're just about 45 minutes away from the beginning of the first leg of this state funeral, and just over the last hour or so, you've seen the crowd start to build and build and build here. People coming from near and far to pay their respects to the president that called this place home for a century. One person who came, they traveled all the way up from Largo, Florida. It is Charlie McLaren, and we spoke with her just a little bit ago.
He's just a man of faith that I really respect, and integrity. He walks the walk, and he reminds me of my dad, actually, just from a small little place like this, and really had this burning desire to make an impact, and I love him for that.
You spend time in Plains and you hear so many stories about personal connections people had with President Carter, and then you hear a story like that, and even though Charlie McLaren didn't personally know the president, she got that sense that she knew his character, and so many people have that sense, and they are going to be lining this route as this funeral procession begins in just about 45 minutes. We're live in Plains. Zach Merchant, 11 Alive News.
Zach, I was thinking about the sentiment that a picture tells 1,000 words and speaks very loudly to see everybody behind you bundled up on a cold morning. Some people already with a flag in hand, ready to honor a neighbor and a friend and the former leader of the free world. Thanks so much. We'll check back with you a little bit later in our special. So 45 minutes away now, as Zach mentioned, from the start of this final journey. Mr. Carter will begin at Phoebe Sumter Medical Center in Americus. Right now, people there making sure every detail is taken care of perfectly. We talked to Sumter County Sheriff Eric Bryant, who as a young deputy stood guard during Sunday church while Mr. Carter was teaching. Now he will be part of the motorcade that escorts the president from Americus to Atlanta.
I want to make sure every single thing is perfect. I want to make sure that, the patrol car is parked perfect. I want to make sure that the uniform fits me just the way I want it to fit.
Rebecca Lindstrom is in Americus. Rebecca, when I hear people talk about their hopes for today, it really reflects a deep care for someone they clearly felt cared for by. Pretty incredible to see all of this culmination to this moment we're so close to now.
And it is interesting because at the beginning of the week, people were sharing those personal stories, there was laughter, and now as we've talked with those who have taken the time to gather here along the motorcade route, there is more of a somber feel to it. I think the gravity of the moment is finally hitting for a lot of people. What has been great to see is that those that are here at Phoebe Sumter range in age from toddlers to grandparents. Whole families have come here. And they say they have driven an hour, 2 hours. It was all worth it just to be able to show their respect and to say in some small way, thank you to President Carter and his family for all that they have done for this area. As we have said, about 45 minutes, that is when we are expecting the family's motorcade to show up here to the hospital. And that is when 9 members from his Secret Service, past and present, will move his casket from the hospital to the hearse and then walk alongside it for that final moment in their protective detail. I did have a chance to talk with President Carter's personal physician. He says that he was there when Mr. Carter took his last breath and that his final days were peaceful and that he was surrounded by family. Of course, I had to take advantage of that opportunity to ask him, since Mr. Carter did live to be 100, what did he think was the secret to his long life?
He was in very good health. Even after he started having some problems, he took care of himself. He walked and he exercised and he'd swim in his pool, and He ate a very healthy diet. He ate a lot of fruits and vegetables and berries and nuts, and he took care of himself. And his faith played a big role. He didn't worry about his health. He just put it in the hands of God, and he lived his life to the fullest.
And it has been that tenacity that we have heard recounted in story after story, whether it was personal or political. And we know that the staff from Phoebe Sumter, both the hospital as well as those who helped work with him in hospice, are going to be lining up along this motorcade as well, just wanting to have that final opportunity to say goodbye. Live in Americus, Rebecca Lindstrom, 11 Alive News.
Turning now to our Liza Lucas at the Carter Presidential Center in Atlanta. Liza, we know that the motorcade will arrive in Atlanta around 3 p.m. for a stop and moment of silence at the state capitol, a place where the former president once served as governor, then moved to the Carter Center where you are, where the public will then have a chance to pay their respects starting this evening. Liza?
That's right, and it has been a little quieter, I have to say, this morning at the Carter Center. We did have a large group of runners just pop by and take a moment at the sign behind me and the memorial where we have been all week. But as you mentioned, this evening is really going to be the main time when we will start to see more and more of the public show up here at the Carter Center as Lying in Repose begins at 7 p.m. We did have a chance to speak with one person from Texas, driving more than 13 hours. David Montoya made the trip. He said it was always on his bucket list to go to the Carter's Sunday school class. Unfortunately, that never happened, so he made sure this trip did.
I really do regret that I didn't get a chance to actually see him in person and meet him. But, there's always, an opportunity now to come and pay my respect, as many people will probably will, from all over the world. I'm just like 13 hours away, and there'll be people from further countries and just coming to see him, pay respect, and he deserves it. A man like him, he deserves quite a lot and more.
Lying in Repose, again, will begin at 7 p.m. tonight. It will continue around the clock, and you can see on your screen here that there's no parking here at the Carter Center. Those road closures are already in place around, so the MARTA shuttles from King Memorial, those are your best bet if you plan to attend. Those shuttles will be running non-stop. We are told coming every 3 to 5 minutes from King Memorial to the Carter Center, and this is really important. You cannot bring anything with you on board. The only exception is a diaper bag, and that's going to be searched thoroughly here on site at the Carter Center. So those rules apply. No backpacks at the Carter Center. There are lots of signs around here as well. No bags, and then no pictures or video are allowed inside. And you can understand that's for obvious reasons as we show respects to our 39th president. Again, the public repose will take place and start 7 p.m. tonight, continuing through Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. around the clock, and those shuttles will run as well to coordinate with that. The Carter Center has told us that several hundred people can fit inside in that queue, but we expect that the lines will extend beyond that. So they're really encouraging people to dress for the weather and plan accordingly. Live at the Carter Center, Liza Lucas, 11 Alive News.
Thank you, Liza. And you can stream extended coverage of Jimmy Carter's life and legacy right now on the 11 Alive Plus app. The app is free to download on your Roku, Amazon Fire, or Apple TV.